Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, the situation is becoming catastrophic for Nicolas Sarkozy from his place of detention. You know, he was incarcerated just a few years ago, 24-hour thing and something. But Nicolas Sarkozy, what he is doing to cross is very, very serious. So serious that it is. Prisoners were taken into custody. Yeah, it's a first anyway. Legally, to hear about this. Someone who is in prison, we do it, get out, we put him in custody. Normally, these are the ones who are outside that we can take, we put a life custody in order to see their situation, thing. And that's it. When it turns out differently, we put them in prison, but they are in prison by train to carry out their sentences. And then we take them again, we put them in custody. Well, certainly, this is to increase their punishment there for other offenses that come to be committed, isn't it? But I tell you that it is very, very hot on Nicolas Sarkozy. Very hot. Inside the prison where he is found, several inmates threatened to send him to eternal rest. They have threatened. Yesterday, it started with hostile slogans like, "We will avenge Gaddafi." We avenge Gaddafi. What if it was just limited to this type of message? And we could understand, obviously we could understand, but it was not limited to this type of message. The messages that came after that, there were threatening messages of death. They want to send him to rest eternal, and it is not joke. These prisoners are determined. They became radicalized. What do they have to lose? There is a saying, Ivorian, who says, Cabrimore is not a frayed knife. They are already in prison. There you go. So, whatever PDX it would be, moreover, an honor for them to avenge the Libyan guide. I tell you that the day Gaddafi's karma has arrived, and hold on tight, the same period he sent Gaddafi to eternal rest, it is the same period which he entered from the most bad manners in the history of the French Republic. He entered prison. Gaddafi sends him eternal rest October 20th. He too was sent to prison. I think it's October 20th or 21st. Yes, so there is karma in it. I tell you right now, where we are talking, his parents, his political family, they are all worried. They are extremely worried. I ask you to share this again, conference at most. Yes, Africa rejoices when our ancestors are in taking action. We must thank them by sharing, by likes. We must show that we are happy. We must spread the news. Spread it, that is to say. It must be spread a little everywhere throughout the whole world. That the world knows that we are Africans, that our ancestors are with us. You can make us evil, but in your lifetime you will pay for this. France is in the process of pay for what it did to Africa. Sarkozy is still alive. There is no saying I'm going to go. God will go send me to hell. Sarkozy of his living through this. The family of Gaddafi is seeing this. She is happy. She is smiling. All of Africa is happy. It's karma. Glory to our ancestors. Honor. Glory to our ancestors deserving. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to see a number of shares unlimited. Let's go deep with the facts. There you go. 3 inmates were placed. That's BFM TV, eh? This French media that did announcement. 3 detainees were placed in police custody. Someone who is already in prison, if this is not an overtaking. France is so overwhelmed that someone who is already in prison, you put him in prison again, custody. Maranatha. So they were taken into custody after making death threats against former President Nicolas Sarkozy, detained for execution of sentence. So the incident happened in the penitentiary establishment, very secure, huh? It must be remembered that yesterday when they started saying, "We will avenge Gaddafi, we will avenge Gaddafi," they have strengthened the security around him. In the cells next door, they put police officers. But finally this morning, they were forced to put 2 well-armed police officers in his cell to protect him. That is, he is at the same time in prison with 2 others police officers. He no longer has any privacy while he should be alone in his cell. I tell you, it's very, very hot. Africa of sovereignties, Africa of our ancestors, Zebel's Africa Tokopa Pivi, Alma Mior's Africa Toure. It's no longer time for laughter. Let's go deep. Yes, let's go deep. So these threats that were made are judged by the services prisons as being credible. Yes, because what the prisoners had to utter as a threat, they are sure, they are certain, they are reassured that these prisoners can move on to action. There is no half measure. They can take action automatically. Yes. And they will find all means necessary to send the gentleman in eternal rest. So then immediately, and this caused a strengthening of the security measures around the Nicolas Sarkozy's cell. And so here is a new incident which highlight the weaknesses of the prison administration French. Yes, the prison administration French is accused of weakness. This is true on the one hand, but on the other hand, this is really the determination of give him back what he did to Gaddafi. You have always been told here that everything happens pays on earth. Yes, if it is so, the things were waiting heaven or hell before to be sanctioned before that happened, limited, I believe, around 2020, around 2015 or 2020. But for a certain period time, everything is paid now in the face of face. That's how it goes. But it must be said that despite the existence, karma, the penitentiary system, France's prison system is truly weakened. Yes. First, it must be said that it is overpopulation. This overcrowding will give a chance to those who are in train. That is to say, according to the services, this overpopulation can give this a chance that these threats materialize. It is why they judged it credible, very credible. So we have the overpopulation. We have a lack of surveillance. We have radicalization growing. I told you here yesterday. These people that can be ready to break everything in prison just to get hold of it on Nicolas Sarkozy and then settle the account of Muhammad Gaddafi. So it must be said that the profile of suspects remains unclear. It is a mixture of common law prisoner and profiles politicized or radicalized. The question that arises is how a former president of the republic can it be threatened in a supposed space, be under absolute control of the state? This is the question that many people ask themselves pose. But what are the repercussions of what happened in Paris? Reactions are starting to appear coming from everywhere. The opposition denounces a collapse of state authority. Nicolas Sarkozy's close associates themselves speak of a climate of hatred maintained by political divisions and judicial. So here are some reactions in the European chancelleries. This incident fuels the discourse of a France weakened, where institutions are faltering and foreign observers are talking about a spectacular drift of the situation French between social tension, judicialization of power and loss of authority. But we at home in Africa, we say it's karma, karma, karma. Comment me. Gaddafi's karma. There you go. Long live karma of Gaddafi. That's clear. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all. It was the Headlines International. I'll get back to you soon. The time. It was the voice of your servant, the samurai.